love and many heavenly blessings to you and those that you love. Thank you so much for being here. So, have you ever heard about the movie The Matrix? I'm sure that you probably have. Everybody has.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
What is happening to me?
The answer is out there, Neo. It's the question that drives us.
What is the Matrix?
The Matrix is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
They're watching you, Neo.
Human beings are a disease. You are a cancer of this planet. And we are the cure.
Get me the hell out of here!
Welcome to the real world.
And I've referred to the movie a lot myself when trying to use examples in some of my spiritual teachings. No, it's not about science fiction. There is a deeper truth, and that's what I wanted to talk about in this video today. So let's go back. In the movie, the character is offered a red or blue pill. One leads to great awakening, but with great awakening comes great calamity. The blue pill, well, he could just go and live his life as he's always known it and never have to question any further. When I saw that in the movie, it dawned on me how true that actually really is, and that people do walk around asleep. Every day they go about their lives thinking about their own problems. Not that that's a terrible thing or anything, but they do become so focused. And they think about what they need, what they want, and what fulfills them or what makes them happy. And the same applies in relationships.
So distant, and it's just really frustrating.
Yeah, that sucks.
How are you and Chad?
We're good. I feel like things have been like really steady between us. Like he listens to me and like lets me speak. Like it's just honestly like things have been just so different. It just feels really good. Yeah.
Good.
How are you and sorry, one second. Sorry. How are you and Jeremy doing?
Well, like I was saying, like it's just not good, you know.
These fries are so good.
I don't know.
Of course, it's important to care for yourself, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how people can become so immersed in their own world that they fail to question anything more deeply. They don't ask themselves if they truly know who they are, or if they really know what they want, or if they can even change in the future. What's the meaning to life, or why are they here? And for the most part, a lot of people don't realize that the world around them is more than just a planet, and that the people living beside them means so much more than just some other individual that you pass by someday. The truth of the matter is, when you awaken, you start to look more deeply. And then you ponder the deeper questions, and you don't just take things for surface value. It's not like asking some AI bot or any random spiritual teacher, why am I here? It's really trying to go through the journey of figuring out that with guidance. But how can you understand why you're here if you can't even understand why the world around you is the way that it is, or if any of it's even real? And so that led me to this idea of this video, which is to talk about what the red and blue pill means in spirituality. So, yes, the term comes from the 1999 film The Matrix, where it symbolizes choosing to awaken to the harsh reality of the world rather than remaining in a comfortable illusion. In a spiritual sense, though, it's really evolved into a metaphor, and I see it everywhere, for profound awakening or enlightenment. And it's been representing the process of breaking free from societal conditioning and illusions, ego-driven perceptions, or to embrace deeper truths about existence, consciousness, and reality. So in a world with duality, yin, yang, dark, light, and of course the side of awakening, in its contrast, it has the blue pill, which signifies staying ignorant, adhering to conventional beliefs such as rigid religious dogmas, which is what's happening again today, materialistic worldviews, and so much more. For instance, in some discussions, the red pill is linked to transcending socially imprinted ideas and recognizing the casual nature of reality, leading to personal liberation. In religious or faith-based interpretations, I've also noticed, particularly within Christianity, being red-pilled can mean renewing the mind to align with the biblical truths, challenging cultural agendas, and pursuing spiritual freedom. It is sometimes viewed as akin to enlightenment, but distinct because it emphasizes a sudden shift in perception rather than a gradual spiritual journey. Yet I would say that Christianity or any man-made religion really is just a divide. True enlightenment isn't found in one place, although you may be lucky to find someone that may have found a lot of answers for you, which I hope that I have. The understanding is that true enlightenment isn't just one moment, it's a journey, and it's becoming enlightened and too many different things. I mean, there are so many things to learn, and once a person fully reaches that understanding, they no longer see the world that they did before. And that can crush a lot of things that you felt before. It changes how you view things in such a deep way that you may never be the same again. For some people, once they go through enlightenment, they go through a dark night of the soul phase, which is really a hard place to come out of. To be honest with you, I've had some students in the past, not referring to anyone who might be watching this video, but I have had a few that went deep into that dark night and they never came out, The information was just too much for them, and it led them to have to look over their shoulder all of the time or to overanalyze. And I've taught truth so deep that people can't listen to music anymore without wondering if there's something deeper beneath the surface. I mean, my little kids do it too. They always ask, what's, the meaning of the song? And when I tell you that there are many layers, I'm not lying. It's not just about the song. There's so much deeper into it. But nonetheless, the changes that the person goes through, it changes the way the person looks at everything, and it changes their relationships. I've got a lot of people who've gone through the journey of finding enlightenment, and they changed the way that they felt about their partners or even people in their life too. It's not that they don't love them anymore because they learn to love unconditionally. It's just that they see in a different perspective. Some even think that just because they found some answers that they have them all, and instead of going to the next step, which is called ego death, it goes to an ego boost. So what is the ego death? Well, the ego death is something that many spiritual teachers try to talk about, but I think I have a really great way of explaining it, and I will talk about that in another video because it's very deep, and I don't want to try to crush it all into, one recording. But the idea is that life is never the same with awakening, and it's not just as easy as watching videos on YouTube or asking some questions in AI or reading a few blogs. It's not going to one religion. It's not bowing down to one authority. The journey is to truly understand the creation of it all and your place in that and why. Is your life really as it seems? Was it ever? In a world around you that you live in, you have to learn what it really is for what you're made to think it is, or by who. And the answer to some of these questions are in my book, and I don't mean to sound so self-promotional or anything, believe me, but it really is a fantastic book. I put my heart and soul into all of my work, especially the book, and even though there are a lot of typos in it, and I've been teaching a really long time online, and this was before I even knew that they had Grammarly, so thank goodness for that, because it really saved me. But for that book, it's really, really, really good, especially the last two. They're my pride and joy, and they're not the best of my work, and they're not the extent of my knowledge, because that's found in my courses, but it gives you a really good outline to really learn more, and it's called The Veil of Illusion. And I am so sorry to all of my students who probably read the book already, because you have to keep hearing about it every time that you come into my videos. But I do hope to reach new readers, because I really want people to start questioning the truth. I want them to have that red pill awakening, but I also don't want them to fall into the dark night either. So I want them to come out a whole renewed person with a new sense of purpose, and not to shame everything or have hatred toward it, but to just have a different perspective when walking their path or your path in this world, you know? So look at it as a dramatic movie that you're starring in, so to speak. The red pill in spirituality encourages curiosity, self-inquiry, and embracing uncomfortable truths for growth. Some may wonder, what do blue pill spiritual illusions include? You know, and that's a really, really good question. Well, in the context of spirituality, the blue pill is a choice. You know, it's basically choosing to remain in the comforting illusions around you, false perceptions or your own lies, the world's lies, rather than awakening to the deeper truth that you could obtain. It represents a preference for blissful ignorance, where a person accepts the simulated or ego-driven reality, which we see a lot of happening today without questioning it. And that's often to avoid discomfort or personal transformation, which a lot of people don't like change. And this embodies submission to external narratives such as cultural norms, again, religious dogmas, media influences that create a sense of security and hinder spiritual growth. But opting for the blue pill, people reject the opportunity for enlightenment, and they choose to actually stay in a state of uncritical belief and emotional complacency, which can perpetuate cycles of illusion and self-limitation, that's for sure. In Buddhist or mindfulness perspectives, it might manifest as clinging to false sense of superiority or separation from other people, reinforcing the ego's delusions. The blue pill as a part of a spiritual war where illusions are maintained through belief and permission, trapping people in a lower state of consciousness or matrix-like mental construct, which is true. Choosing the blue pill means surrendering autonomy and avoiding harsh realities that lead to higher awareness and ascension. Unlike the red pill in its path of liberation, the blue pill sustains status quo, but at the cost of true freedom and self-realization. So I've been offering the red pill knowledge for decades, and in my opinion, I see that some individuals would really rather stay in the blue pill zone. I see it all over, especially on X, and especially in regards to leaders, because I've seen the agenda trying to keep people fooled all throughout time since the beginning of rulers and the shaping of civilization. Well, the red pill awakenings involve sudden gradual shifts in your perception that shatter old illusions. They lead to deeper awareness, personal change and transformation, and a sense of feeling liberated from ego-based things. And I work on this with people, what I call illumination or tree of life coaching. These experiences can manifest through meditation, mystical encounters, profound realizations, and to me, it really does echo the Matrix metaphor of choosing truth over comfort. For instance, one example is awakening to non-duality through meditation, where an individual might describe a total breakthrough in perceiving the underlying code of reality, much like in the movie. But again, that's metaphorical. This is a hard path, and it usually doesn't happen suddenly, as many people think is what I'm trying to say. And part of the process of breaking the underlying code is this reality requires breaking through one's self. And that includes removing judgment, ego, inner shadows, human nature, and how situations are perceived and brought in. And also to learn to look beyond the self. And it takes time, especially if a person has been through a great deal of trauma, or they've gone through addictions, or if they have psychological things that they have to work through or heal from. Most people are taught one way and they're brought up from it, their belief systems, they're imposed upon them when growing up, as well as influences in society. And that also includes content that's heavily absorbed, books, music, religious content, science, the medical field. It is all controlled. It really, really is. Therefore, beginning to truly awaken means letting go of what you think you know already and learning to open your life up to the fact that there might be something more behind everything. It doesn't matter which president's ruling or not. And then to be given that example through truth and having the ability to decide whether you yourself wish to go further. Some of those things will help you to change how you look at things, like shifting to a plant-based diet, for example. Many of my people thought I chose vegetarianism simply because of diet, but it wasn't the case. The fact of the matter is I just couldn't think of eating animals among living creatures that have feelings and exist on our planet with their families and their own languages and their own order of things. I couldn't imagine eating a human, let alone a dead body or some other living creature, and it bothered me. And for a lot of other people that woke up and saw that, it bothered them too. The red pill brings the experience of heightened compassion because you have so much love, and it dissolves feelings of separation from others and eliminates fear and constant striving. However, integrating that can be challenging, often leading to feelings of really being isolated or even wanting to isolate yourself from everyday societal norms and emotional struggles when confronting global disharmony. I go through it all the time, even as an awakened person. Another powerful example involves Kundalini energy and activation, where someone might experience insightful dreams followed by meditative surges of Shakti energy rising through their body. That is usually something that culminates in a profound union at the crown chakra, flooding the person with intense light. When all of that happens, it permanently alters their sense of self and identity, and it shifts them from ego-driven to heart-centered consciousness, representing a red pill moment where people move beyond intellectual reasoning to a fully intuitive experience based on their own inner knowing. And this includes recognizing interconnectedness, not just as a concept, but as a reality, engaging in a dynamic dialogue with life's energy and resolving past illusions through these mindful practices, and ultimately later on creating personal evolution with this energetic universe. Biblical or faith-based contexts, red pill awakenings also happen at moments of divine intervention, such as hearing the song that evokes a sense of God's presence during a time of grief, followed by a chance encounter with a believer who helps reconcile conflicts between science and faith. It inspires this renewed commitment to spiritual practice. It really does. And then another instance, it might include following an inner prompting to deliver a message maybe to a stranger that has a reaction that confirms the reality of spiritual guidance within. And that in itself builds unwavering trust in the higher wisdom. Beyond traditional and religious structures, Enlightenment in traditions like Buddhism often means transcending institutional dogmas to realize one's true Buddha nature or saint-like awareness. Enlightened individuals such as mystics or yogis may choose to withdraw from society to pursue these higher realities, rejecting ritualistic servitude in favor of authentic freedom. A metamorphosis from a programmed life to empowered awareness is likened to a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, involving the dismantling of conditioned beliefs about institutions like government, media, and history. This process is isolating, but it's really, really painful, and ultimately leads to embodying truth and anticipating life's patterns, inspiring awareness in others, contributing to a broader collective shift. And it's a reoccurring theme. Includes initial disruption, expanded empathy, and irreversible insights, frequently accompanied by synchronicities, heightened intuition, and profound sense of one's markers in spiritual evolution. However, while greatly coveted by those hearing about such spiritually liberating experiences, it has its challenges when a person's going through this metamorphosis. They really do. When awakening, it might be celebrated for the promise of enlightenment and deeper understanding, but it comes with significant challenges that can disrupt one's life on multiple levels. As a teacher of many people throughout the years, I have witnessed that some experience a profound sense of isolation and alienation as this newfound awareness creates a disconnect from family, friends, and society who remain entrenched in these beliefs or their blue pill illusions. And this can lead to a loss of relationships where loved ones may view the awakened individual as changed, distant, or even unstable. The relatives are mentally programmed to reality, so there's a conflict between all of them. The awakened person may struggle to understand why the person doesn't want to learn the things that they have, or to sometimes feel frustrated that while they're speaking truth, their loved ones are just simply not wanting to hear it. And they may feel that their views are too radical because they go beyond conventional norm. And that's the conflict between two sides. That can definitely really create feelings of loneliness and resentment for the awakened individual toward everyday norms that really no longer resonate with them, don't you think? Emotional and mental turmoil is another downside, manifesting as depression, anxiety, guilt, or, like I said, the dark night of the soul, where people feel lost and empty, overwhelmed by existential despair. The process of shedding the ego and confronting deep-seated illusions can trigger breakdowns, identity crisis, or sense of insanity, making it tempting to yearn for ignorance of pre-awakened life. Heightened sensitivity may amplify that, leading to depersonalization, derealization, or an inability to regulate the nervous system, where clarity brings awareness but doesn't automatically resolve underlying conditioning or trauma. So it's really, really hard. Physical symptoms will accompany shifts. These bring dizziness. I get it all the time. Nausea, headaches, insomnia, body aches, chronic fatigue, and sometimes energetic activations like Kundalini rising, which can drain you. In extreme cases, which I've seen, can mimic conditions like psychosis, schizophrenia-like states, or spiritual emergencies where blocked emotions and unintegrated energy lead to instability. Material losses have also been seen, such as job instability, financial setbacks, failed relationships, or even accidents and illnesses, as the universe seemingly strips away attachments to force the surrender and realignment. On a broader scale, though, being awakening is bypassing awakened people too. They can use this enlightenment as an excuse to avoid real-world responsibilities or lead to obsessiveness, elitism, or a sense of superiority over those not awakened, and trapping them in these illusions of grandeur. And I've seen that so much too. Excessive awareness might feel like meaningless or unbearable, prompting to withdraw from society, a loss of motivation or ambitions, difficulty in engaging with everyday activities. While these challenges are a part of this truly transformative process, they show the importance and need for grounding, support, and gradual integration to walk their new path toward this liberation without unnecessary suffering. So you need help, But these symptoms do come with a process naturally for everyone at some stage. Spiritual awakening often makes life feel really hard, and it shatters the illusions around you that once shielded you from these deeper truths. And what begins as a sense of expansion and relief can quickly turn into confrontation with old, unresolved pain, grief, and the raw honesty of existence. The blindfold is removed, allowing you to see through these societal norms and relationships and personal identities. And this is something that amplifies your emotions, and it can lead to feelings of being alone, especially from others who are in conventional reality, and the dark night of the soul. So it's a very heavy subject, but everyday activities that once felt meaningful might seem hollow or performative. It might create disconnect that brings feelings of loneliness, loss of motivation, psychological weight from grasping impermanence, and suffering without the buffer of denial. There is no going back. Spiritual awakening, it involves an irreversible dissolution of ego and a fundamental shift in consciousness. Once the veil of illusion lifts, the mind cannot unsee the truth that it's encountered, much like trying to forget a profound revelation. The ego, which thrives on separation, control, and familiarity, begins to erode and makes it impossible to revert to previous patterns or thinking or behaving. And that process is very much like ego death, a painful but permanent reconfiguration where old programming collapses, and attempts to cling to the past only intensify that discomfort. It really does. The nervous system and psyche adapt to that new level of perception, but they cannot regress without denying the authenticity that has been uncovered, which would require suppressing the very essence of their awakening. The person will never be the same. That's because spiritual awakening transforms their identity, their worldview, and way of interacting with life. They lose interest in superficial pursuits, drama, societal validations, gaining a clarity instead that prioritizes presence, truth, and interconnectedness with life. Relationships may end, ambitions fade, and sense of self expands to encompass the universe, replacing the limited ego with a more expansive yet sometimes isolating awareness. That evolution demands ongoing integration, and you do have to continue to go through the human experience, with raw honesty, humility, virtue, compassion, I can name them all, and bring you out as a conduit of deeper wisdom from your pre-awakened self. While challenging that change is ultimately going to bring you liberation, it comes at the cost of the familiar. And the dark night of the soul never truly goes away, but it does get better, through acceptance and being guided on how to live with this new understanding. So if you've seen my other videos, read my other blogs, or even taken my courses, you will have heard me refer to the movie The Matrix, or even comparing life to Sims or Minecraft. At times I've even compared the spiritual experience to an ongoing dream. It takes a deep mind to ponder into those examples, but in actuality, when taking the red pill, you realize that everything is an illusion, and it goes just beyond thinking that you get it. It requires seeing it in everything. What you perceive as a solid object in existence is actually a constructive or deceptive experience shaped by higher minds, including yours, as a collective consciousness. It's kind of like AI today. Someone created it, and someone, along with many others, programmed it. It became a world of its own information. If everything exists in its own space, floating somewhere, it can be transferred into vessels like robots, phones, computers, cars, TVs, and transmit information to and from vessels through energy like the air and Wi-Fi. It's the same in human consciousness and how your soul was sent into your body. The shared data in the experience here is DNA, and the light held in your brain generating throughout your body, charged up by these living energies in food and solar powered by the sun and regenerated through you and earth and back upward. And that's why ancient people built religions around sun worship, because without the sun, nothing would exist. Your mind, senses, and underlying forces are products of the intelligence. The world we live in daily is filled with objects, time, space, and personal identities, but it's not the ultimate truth, rather a veil, a simulation hiding something deeper in reality. The red pill will bring you that awareness, and that realization will challenge you and your assumptions about existence, urging a shift from surface level appearances to questioning the nature of consciousness itself. The truth appears in ancient concepts like Maya, Hinduism, Buddhism, where the material world is seen as an illusory play of forms created by divine energy or ignorance, preventing people from recognizing their true eternal selves. Plato's allegory of the cave similarly describes reality as shadows on a wall or true forms existing beyond our sensory prison. This is also shared in the book of Adam and Eve, where they speak about the cave Adam entered, as well as great prophets in the Bible going into the mountains or the wilderness. The truth is that nothing exists outside the mind, implying all external phenomena are generated illusions by the creator of the construct and everyone living in it, linked in that collective. Similar to AI, like I said earlier. Even Albert Einstein remarked that reality is a persistent illusion, blending scientific insight with wonder, as he viewed free will and separateness as deceptive constructs of the human experience. But thankfully, even in some scientific perspectives, evidence is mounting, suggesting to those researching into it that reality just might indeed be illusory. It is, and I've been trying to say this for so many years. Oh, thank God. Quantum mechanics also revealed that particles exist in superpositions until observed, suggesting consciousness plays a role in collapsing possibilities into perceived outcomes, blurring the line between observer and observed. Then, to even further support this, relative theory shows time and space as relative, not absolute, with phenomenon like time dilation, which implies that our linear experience of events is a mental fabrication. Neuroscientists add that the brain edits sensory input, fabricating a seamless present from delayed signals and predictions, while the simulation hypothesis, popularized by figures like Donald Hoffman, proposes that evolution favors perceiving useful fictions over objective truth, much like a user interface hides a computer's code. Spiritually, I think that those who awaken often describe realizing life as a dreamlike manifestation of energy and consciousness, and relationships and personal stories are written into the experience and dissolve into it as well. All is mind, the universe, a mental construct where time isn't linear, but an eternal now. A birth-death cycle is a perpetual loop. Even in manifestation, I've taught that choosing illusions deliberately as perception shapes your experience, changing your belief, and then reality transforms accordingly. It's true. Once I had a client that wanted to become a very specific type of professional, and in order to get her to manifest it, we had to get her to believe in that reality happening for her. Together we had to do it. We had to amplify, because it's not just as easy as one person wanting something. I have to believe in it too. The whole reality has to go along with it for it to shift and change. Maybe so much in smaller stages, but I had to get her to act with her heart and believe it and have it come true. And as I believed it and she believed it, and she walked through life acting as if it were already reality, eventually it did become one. However, others had to see it, she had to believe it, and I had to believe in it as well, because we're a collective environment where perceptions have to match, that sub level for the reality to continue being as it is. And that's why the blue pill is so greatly enforced. Once more people start taking the red pill and awakening, they start to shift from the enforced reality that is more manifesting instead. And the more and more people that try to change that, the more reality will change entirely. And they don't want that. Therefore, manifestation isn't as easy as some teachers make it out to be, because it is a collective experience. And that's why I usually do spells for people to help them to get what they need, because getting it on my own, the person on their side and spirit and me, we work as this collective force and push it into the reality, which is already a controlled state. It's empowering the revealing that while forms are fleeting here, your awareness and the collectives remains the only constant truth. Societal structures like money and politics are manufactured deceptions, and true freedom really does come from transcending those veils. And after taking the red pill, you see that everything is an illusion, and it leads you to the next phase of awakening and wanting to know what lies beyond that dream. So which pill did you choose? What made you want to choose it? And how has it changed you? I hope you share in the comments below. And I would like to say also that while we're going through this great epic moment in history, I would like to say rest in peace to Renee Nicole Good, who was recently shot in Minneapolis. I truly believe with all of my heart that no matter what side of politics you're on, you know, human life should never be treated as indignantly. So I hope that heaven brings comfort to her family members and that all of these horrible things in the world can stop. There has to be a better way. Any great leader knows that there's a better way, but what they're doing now is going to make so much money for them. They just don't want to stop this. And it's something that we're going to be seeing for a while, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, so hang in there. But make sure you choose the red pill, because you don't want to be marching along, you know, with everything that's going on in the world today. Some people choose, even though they are red-pilled, they choose to use their red pill moment to go along with what's happening because they think it's going to get them somewhere, you know, and it doesn't. Those people are, it's like they say, cheaters never win. That's the truth. So remember that. I love you all so very much. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for this great video. It was really wonderful to do, and I hope that I can continue producing these for you. The world is changing, and I don't know how much longer I have, but I am so glad to be with you while I'm here. Love and light.